Hi guys, I have said before, I will campaign for Sammy Wilson to win and hold his seat at the next general election through sheer entertainment value. Well, we'll see about that. Anyway, he popped up on social media complaining. Yes, he does that a lot. But this time he was complaining about being lied to. Being lied to by whom, you may ask? By the Tories. Can you believe it? He says they told him that the Windsor Framework was a panacea. It would fix all problems. Sammy is not a happy camper. Have a listen.
6 months ago, with great fanfare, the Windsor Framework was announced as resolving all of the problems of the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Prime Minister claimed that it did away with any impact of a border in the Irish Sea, and that Northern Ireland was now fully integrated into the UK single market.
What I find interesting about this whole saga is that the EU never had a problem with the protocol, never had a problem with the Windsor Framework, or never had a problem with the withdrawal agreement. Now, it said there were issues, of course, but it never complained. The Irish government never complained about the Northern Ireland Protocol, never complained about the Windsor Framework or the withdrawal agreement. I never heard, I've been following this quite a bit, but I've never heard any EU member state, head of an EU member state, foreign minister or anything complain about the Windsor Framework or the Northern Ireland Protocol or any of this. So the only people who had a problem with it were the DUP and some headbangers around the DUP with the same mentality, and some Brexiteers in England. Isn't that strange?
Nothing could be further from the truth. And only this week, a committee of the House of Lords has reported, after extensive investigations into the Windsor Framework, this committee was mostly made up of people who'd be sympathetic to the government and sympathetic to the EU, yet it has found that major problems will still remain for traders and for trade with Northern Ireland.
Yes, because of Brexit. If we didn't have Brexit, we wouldn't be talking about the Northern Ireland Protocol. We wouldn't be talking about the withdrawal agreement. We wouldn't be talking about the Windsor Framework. These are consequences of Brexit. We told you, Sammy, we told you in the run-up to the referendum, voting for Brexit would be damaging to Northern Ireland. And your response was, we don't care. We want out. We hate the EU. We just want out of the EU. We don't care about the consequences. You know, one DUP, I don't think he's an MP, maybe he's a member of the Assembly, who was asked about this, and one figure was presented to him, 40,000 job losses, and he said he didn't care. He said it was a price worth paying.
They talk about Northern Ireland becoming a no man's land, that independent retailers in Northern Ireland could find themselves at disadvantage with retailers from the rest of the United Kingdom, and that many products will be subject to complicated and costly border controls. The Prime Minister told a tissue of lies to the House of Commons, and significantly, whilst the House of Commons got exercised about the lies which Boris Johnson told about whether he had cake and had a drink of tea, they seemed to be silent on the implications of the protocol and the Windsor Framework for the integrity of the United Kingdom.
How many times do I have to say this? Brexiteers don't care. The Tories don't care. Why do I have to say this to Sammy? I know Sammy's not going to watch this video, but if somebody is watching this video and you have any sort of contact with Sammy Wilson, tell him from me, the Tories and the Brexiteers don't care. They never cared about the Union. They never cared about Northern Ireland. They don't care about Northern Ireland or the Union now, and they will never care about it in the future. Like, when it came to Brexit or the Union, Brexiteers chose Brexit on every occasion. Every time they chose Brexit over the Union. You know, some of them in Scotland will say, yeah, we care about the Union, but frankly, they don't care about the Union. The Tories don't really care. They're not presenting any arguments in favour of the Union. When it comes to Northern Ireland, they don't even have any representatives in Northern Ireland. I think they have a little office somewhere, but that's about it. They don't have any MLAs, they don't have any MPs in Northern Ireland, so they don't care, Sammy. Brexiteers don't give a flying frig.
The reason why the DUP will continue to fight the government on this issue is because we are not prepared to have our economy destroyed and our place within the United Kingdom affected by a deal with Europe, which leaves us exposed to being inside the EU single market with no democratic control and with barriers placed between us and the country to which we belong. That is why our principled stance is the right stance, and rather, as other parties have called for implementation of the protocol, we want the abolition of it.
And what's the alternative? What is the alternative to the protocol? What is the alternative to the Windsor Framework? He has no alternative, just to complain. Now, Sammy Wilson and the DUP have as much influence over Rishi Sunak and the Tories as I do, which is very, very little. Okay, the Tories don't care about Sammy Wilson and the DUP. They will pretend to care, but in reality they don't. And look at how the vote went. Was it 515 people, MPs, voted for the implementation of the Windsor Framework? You know, that's like 80% of Parliament support this. It's not going anywhere. Like, you have Labour MPs backing it. You have Conservative MPs backing it. The two main parties are in support of the Windsor Framework. What power has the DUP? What influence do they have? Yes, they have a few Brexiteer headbangers on their side, but these Brexiteer headbangers have very little influence within the Conservative Party themselves, and they're not going to overturn this. This is about rebuilding trust with the EU. Ironically, Rishi Sunak is a Brexiteer, but when it comes to trade, it seems he wants to take a different path to Boris Johnson's. So the Windsor Framework is building on the protocol. Yes, there are going to be problems. There are problems now, but the Tories don't care about those problems. They don't care about businesses in Northern Ireland. They don't care about the people of Northern Ireland. And, you know, either Sammy Wilson doesn't understand that, or he's lying to himself. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.